You're sitting across from someone, trying to act casual while your mind is racing with one secret wish: how to read someone's mind. Not with magic, not with tricks, but in a way that actually lets you understand anyone's true thoughts. Most people think you need years of study in mind-reading psychology or some supernatural gift to read people's minds. But the truth is simpler and much more human. If you know the right questions to read someone's mind, if you know the right deep questions to ask, you can almost look straight into someone's inner world. Because here's the paradox. People hide their thoughts, but at the same time, they're desperate for someone to finally see them. That tension is where real power lives. The power to build trust, not control, to build real connection, not manipulation. This is not about tricks or dark psychological tricks to connect with people. It's about human connection psychology, about learning how to understand people in a way that aligns with Stoicism: calm, grounded, ethical. Think of it as Stoicism and psychology meeting in the real world. A Stoic mindset applied to relationships, guided by Stoic wisdom about relationships and modern emotional tools. Marcus Aurelius once wrote about watching his own thoughts like an outsider. This is Marcus Aurelius' Stoicism in practice. Epictetus taught that we must observe what people do, not what they claim. That's pure Epictetus Stoic philosophy. Seneca showed us how our judgments shape our emotions. Classic Seneca Stoic wisdom. Put together, they give us a calm Stoic mindset for relationships, a kind of internal compass we could call Stoic clarity. Today, I'm going to show you how to read someone's mind using 4 powerful questions. These are not random conversation starters. They are Stoic questions, crafted like invisible X-rays for the soul. Questions for self-awareness, questions for personal growth, questions for emotional maturity, and relationship philosophy questions that quietly expose what someone truly values. The third question is especially dangerous, in a good way. It's one of those questions that reveal someone's true self, questions that reveal core values, and questions that reveal true intentions, often without the other person realizing how much they've shown you. If this resonates with your Stoic mindset, subscribe so we don't lose each other on this path of Stoic training and Stoic mindset training. Let's begin. Question number 1. What's been the highlight of your week so far? Imagine you're on a slow train, sitting across from someone you might never meet again. There's silence, then small talk, and you decide to test this new way to read someone's mind with questions. Instead of asking what they do or where they live, you look at them and say, "What's been the highlight of your week so far?" On the surface, it sounds like one of those harmless, deep questions to ask, but underneath, it's a carefully designed piece of mind-reading psychology. It's one of the most powerful questions to get to know someone deeply because it forces their brain to select one moment from hundreds. The moment they choose is rarely random. It reveals what they pay attention to, what they celebrate, what they feel they're allowed to feel good about. One evening, I asked this to a guy sitting next to me in a crowded cafe. He looked like the typical overworked professional, laptop open, phone buzzing. I expected him to talk about a project or a promotion. Instead, he smiled and said, "Honestly, teaching my little sister how to drive. She almost hit a trash can, but we laughed the whole time." In that answer, he didn't talk about money, status, or achievement. His highlight was a small, imperfect moment with family. That told me he values presence over performance, relationships over recognition. Without mentioning it, he answered 3 silent Stoic mindset questions at once. What energizes you? Who matters most to you? What does a good life look like to you? This is one of those quiet questions that reveal values and beliefs. For some people, the highlight is closing a deal, finishing a book, hitting a personal record at the gym. For others, it's a peaceful walk alone, a conversation with a parent, or a moment where they finally said no and protected their boundaries. Each answer reveals different questions for personal growth they've already been asking themselves. Pay attention not just to what they say, but how they say it. When they describe their highlight, do they lean forward? Do their eyes light up? Do they get more animated or more quiet and reflective? These physical shifts let you read someone's mind with questions instead of body language analysis. You're seeing where their emotional energy lives without asking anything invasive. A Stoic doesn't chase endless stimulation. A Stoic observes. What truly makes this person feel alive? This is Stoic Mindset for emotional intelligence, using simple, grounded emotional intelligence questions instead of drama, testing the soul without interrogation. This first question also sets you up for something deeper, because once you know what energizes someone, you know where their joy hides, what they're afraid to lose, and what kind of questions that build deep connection will land with them later. It's the first step in learning how to build real connection without pretending, pleasing, or performing. Question number 2. What's something you used to believe that you don't believe anymore? If the first question uncovers joy, this one uncovers evolution. It turns the conversation from what happened this week to who have you become. You're still using psychological questions to ask someone, but now you're entering their mental archive. This is one of the best growth mindset questions, one of those rare questions for self-awareness that exposes whether someone's mind is rigid or alive. I once asked this to a woman at a friend's birthday dinner. She looked put together, confident, like someone who'd always had a plan. When I asked, she went quiet for a second and then said, "I used to believe that if I wasn't constantly helping everyone, they'd stop loving me. Now I've learned that people who only love me when I'm useful never loved me in the first place." In that moment, she wasn't just answering a question. She was handing me a map of her emotional history. I could see the old belief, the wound behind it, and the new, stronger belief rising from it. That's what makes this one of the most powerful questions for emotional maturity. It shows you where someone used to be lost and how they found their way out. Some people will talk about productivity. I used to believe being busy meant being important. Others will talk about relationships. I used to believe conflict meant the relationship was broken. Now I see it can mean it's real. Others might talk about themselves. I used to believe I was unlovable unless I was perfect. Each answer quietly reveals the hidden questions to read their emotions they've been wrestling with for years. Did they grow from their pain, or did they calcify around it? Do they embrace change or fear it? Do they see themselves as a victim of life or a participant? This is where Stoicism and psychology meet. The Stoics didn't fear changing their minds. They feared clinging to illusions. A person who can admit, "I used to believe X, now I believe Y," is someone who has lived their own Stoic training, whether they know it or not. They've taken their old narrative, examined it, and rewritten it. When someone struggles to answer, that's a signal too. Maybe they haven't done much internal work. Maybe they're terrified of being wrong. Maybe they've never been asked real questions for self-awareness or questions for personal growth before. That doesn't make them bad. It just tells you how deep you can go and how slowly you should move. From the outside, it looks like you're just asking one of those interesting, deep questions to understand someone. But in reality, you're testing their capacity to evolve. To a Stoic, that capacity matters more than charm, status, or talent. If you've ever changed a belief that used to define you, you already know this. Wisdom isn't about never being wrong. It's about being willing to update when new truth appears. If that resonates, you can quietly remind yourself you're allowed to grow. Question number 3. If you could change one thing about how people treat each other, what would it be? Here's where the real magic happens. This is the question that lets you read someone's mind with questions without them realizing what they've exposed. On the surface, it sounds like one of those big, idealistic relationship philosophy questions. It feels safe. You're not asking what hurt you or who betrayed you. You're asking about people in general. But this is one of the most precise questions that reveals someone's true self, one of those questions that reveal core values, and questions that reveal true intentions, often without the other person realizing how much they've shown you. I asked this once to a business partner I was still unsure about. We'd talked numbers, strategies, contracts. Everything looked good on paper, but something in my Stoic mindset told me to wait. So over dinner, I asked, if you could change one thing about how people treat each other, what would it be?
He didn't hesitate. I wish people would stop turning every disagreement into a war, he said. Not every difference is betrayal. I'm tired of watching people burn bridges just because someone thinks differently. In that moment, he revealed a lifetime of experiences, conflict that went too far, relationships destroyed over ego, a craving for calm and rational disagreement. Without naming it, he showed me he valued patience, dialogue, and loyalty. That one answer made me trust him more than any signature on paper. Different people will reveal different worlds. I wish people would stop lying just to avoid uncomfortable conversations. This shows a deep need for honesty and possibly past wounds of deception. I wish people would stop comparing pain like it's a competition. This shows empathy, emotional depth, and likely lived experience with being minimized. I wish people would stop gossiping when they're scared to say things directly. This shows a desire for courage and clean communication. This doesn't just show morals, it shows invisible scars. The person who wants more compassion probably seen cruelty. The one who craves honesty has likely been lied to. The one who wants better listening has probably carried years of feeling unseen. Here, Stoic wisdom about relationships becomes practical. A Stoic doesn't just ask, what do they want from people, but also, what has hurt them enough to make this their wish? That's where human connection psychology deepens into compassion. Notice their tone. Is their answer full of anger, sadness, hope, or resignation? That emotional color is more data. It tells you if they've healed or if they're still bleeding. It shows you whether their Stoic mindset for relationships has been forged or if they're still searching for it. This is also where your own Stoic mindset questions matter. When you hear their answer, ask yourself, can I operate in a way that respects this person's values, or will my natural way of being constantly clash with them? Real wisdom isn't just knowing how to read people's minds, but knowing which minds you should keep close. Question number 4. If you knew you could not fail, what would you spend your life doing? This is where all the previous questions converge. If you want to read people's minds on the deepest level, to really see their secret direction in life, this is the question you ask. By removing the possibility of failure, you slip past their practical excuses and straight into the heart of desire. This is the final layer of questions to read someone's emotions, one of those deep questions to understand someone that reveals what their soul whispers when fear is silent. I asked this once to a friend who'd spent years in a job that drained him. He always had a logical reason to stay: the salary, the security, the timing. When I finally asked this question, he didn't even take a breath. I'd create a school that teaches teenagers how to think, not what to think. Emotional skills, critical thinking, real-world problem solving, no pretending. In that answer, he showed me his blueprint: education, service, depth, courage. Not once did he mention fame, money, or status. His desire wasn't for more, it was for better. This is how questions that build deep connection work. They show you not just what someone wants to have, but who they want to be. Different people will answer differently. I'd open a shelter for abandoned animals and live there. I'd travel the world and document voices nobody listens to. I would build a retreat center where burned-out people remember who they are. These answers show you whether someone is driven by impact, creativity, exploration, or healing. They show you whether their inner compass is pointed toward self, others, or both. This is where Stoic mindset for relationships becomes visible. Do they dream in terms of contribution or consumption? To a Stoic, this question is one of the highest questions for self-awareness. It forces you to see the distance between your daily life and your deepest truth, between what you say you value and what you actually choose. That gap is where suffering grows, or where alignment can be born. When you ask this, listen for congruence. Does their dream match the values they revealed in earlier answers? If they talked about compassion and now dream only of domination, pay attention. If they talked about boundaries but dream of saving everyone, pay attention. Their words form a pattern, and your calm Stoic mindset lets you see it. Sometimes people will shrug and say, "I don't know." That answer is revealing too. It shows how many of their own questions for personal growth they've been avoiding. It shows how long they've been disconnected from themselves. In that case, the most powerful thing you can offer isn't advice, it's presence. When you put all of these together, you're not using tricks. You're using structured human connection psychology, guided by Stoicism and sharpened by real-world awareness. The highlight of their week shows what gives them life. The belief they abandoned shows how they grow. The change they want in how people treat each other shows where they hurt and what they value. The decision that surprised them shows their capacity to evolve. The dream they'd follow without fear shows their soul's true direction. This is how you quietly read someone's mind with questions. This is how you read people's minds without mind games. This is how you use questions that build deep connection, questions to read someone's mind, and psychological questions to ask someone in a way that stays ethical, grounded, and deeply human. If you want to practice a real Stoic mindset, don't just consume quotes. Ask better questions. Let these become your living Stoic mindset questions, your everyday Stoic mindset training, your invisible Stoic mindset for emotional intelligence. Remember, the goal isn't to control people. The goal is to understand anyone's true thoughts well enough to choose wisely who you walk with, who you trust, and who you lovingly release. If this helped you see how to read someone's mind in a new way, like this video so more people can discover these tools. Subscribe for more Stoic training and explorations of Stoicism and psychology. And in the comments, answer one for yourself. What's something you used to believe that you don't believe anymore?